Okay, welcome back to Loner Life in Another World. Anime Review, episode number 5. We're here reviewing the last 4 episodes of Loner Life in Another World. Basically, here's what happens. So basically, Haruka gets lost. He falls down a cavern. He meets a skeleton who happens to be the Dungeon Emperor. And fight, of course, he fight briefly, subjugated her, and then basically beats a monster, gains the armor, gives it to her, because he basically finds out her name is Angela. And then, of course, the armor, like, first is bulky, and then it just forms around her to form an actual. You don't see what's under the helmet until a little bit later. And then, of course, basically slowly catch up to where everyone else is. They're basically on like 454, and he's like in the 80s, and eventually he comes across like a water one, and then it was a fire park one, which he had to briefly set. Apparently, there was a hole there, and apparently this is the same hole he fell in before. And of course, the class rep basically just talks to him briefly, and then they leave. And then, of course, they have to catch up because apparently there's you see the reason why they're here because there's a stampede coming. Now, unlike in the case of another series where, of course, the people there try to prevent information leaking out for stupid reasons, here, everybody's not stupid, unlike in the case of the healer who was banished from his party, who was actually the strongest, where the Guildmaster knew about the rampage, and apparently he was actually working with the country's prime minister, not one to prevent information leaking out. It was complete other nonsense. This one, yeah, he knows about it. They're not stupid. They have all the adventures basically put out there. So, and of course, him with, of course, Angela, and proceeds to, well, manage to get to the 54th floor, no problem. And of course, they battle the monster. Like, oh yeah, she's actually the Dragon Emperor. And of course, they deal with basically the second wave of monsters. And eventually, the third wave is a gigantic army. And they do explain that the reason why this is because apparently the dungeon was expanded too quickly, so too many monsters. I don't think his heroes are strong as this was actually expected to happen. This was because apparently monsters were appearing on floors they should not be. Yep, and then of course all the monsters sent back because of course Angela sends back with her sword. We do see apparently underneath her helmet that her looks like her body's been restored, but no one knows at this point. And then the girls just take her to the bath to get clean. And then they proceed to remove all her whole armor to reveal that she's actually a very beautiful woman underneath that armor. And all the girls know about it, but Haruka does not know yet. And of course, basically, she can't talk yet because apparently, well, they do explain later on that she can't exactly have a voice yet. Well, we'll get back to that. So then, of course, basically, then he has basically gets to kill a bunch of monsters in the dungeon after eliminating monsters. Then he has, let's have a shopping spree for all the stuff he picked up in the dungeon, a whole lot of stuff. Which, of course, his classmates happily paid for them, no problem. Yeah, they paid for them, no problem. And like, oh yeah, they're all set. Maybe they'll leave him alone so he basically be all by himself. He loves being by himself because he's a loner. And then, of course, he takes Angela because he thinks she's still a skeleton in the armor. And then he kind of invites her because he still thinks basically she's a skeleton. And then, and then of course they had a conversation. And apparently, yeah, the whole thing with the flesh and technically avoids it, and she's embarrassed. It's implied maybe it's her blushing. She might actually like him. Yes. So then they just spend the night at his place. Know that these two do not have sex, and then of course they walk back in town. And she, of course, without a helmet on. And no one bats eye the fact that the woman who came with a helmet on no longer has a helmet. So, and eventually she does speak for the first time in episode 12. After being episode 9. She finally talks. Her first words are thank you. And she goes up with the girls to go on more adventures. And he goes back to the woods. By himself. And that's pretty much the 4 episodes in a nutshell. Final thoughts on Low Life in the World Season 1. Very interesting season. I originally was planning to do it a while ago, but I was very hesitant at first. But now, basically, I got it done. I can probably read the light novels, but I should point out something about the light novels. Light novels in this series are quite lengthy. They're like over 300 pages apiece. I mean, it's not going to be a light novel, they'll be short. Oh, these books are long. Oh my gosh, they're freaking long. Now, first question I ask, is there material for Season 2? Yes. By the way, the series actually came out last year. Yes. And now this is done, basically. I've already kind of started my next name, which is Chilling in My 30s, which I'll read more about that in a minute. Actually, a little later on, after my next 2 videos. So, that is pretty much a particular video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications. Next episode review for newest episode, actually the 5 episode core 1 for Core 2 for Dr. Stone Season 4. Okay? Bye.